friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Riya Gandhi and I'm here to help you for your UGC-NET English exam preparation. In this YouTube channel, I'm sharing certain essential tips and strategies and covering some of the most important topics and concepts related to UGC-NET English literature which will help you crack the exam. Friends, what if I told you that a 10 to 20% of paper 2 of UGC-NET English has several questions related to certain literary and linguistic terms, asking you their basic definitions, who coined it, when or where? And what if I told you that I have covered the top 20 most important literary and linguistic terms from UGC-NET point of view after studying the previous year question papers, which will help you in your UGC-NET English exam preparation. I have already covered the top 10 most important literary terms from UGC-NET point of view in this YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out yet, please check it out because these are extremely important and you absolutely need to know for your UGC-NET English exam preparation. In today's video, we are going to dive deep into part 2 of the top 20 important term series, in which I will be discussing the top 10 most important linguistic terms from UGC-NET point of view. I will be discussing the basic definitions of these terms and I'll also provide examples in a very quick and engaging manner. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please hit the bell icon so you don't miss any videos that I will be uploading in the future. The first linguistic term that we are going to discuss in this video is portmanteau. Portmanteau is often considered to be a kind of a neologism, which means a new word or a new phrase. When we are talking about portmanteau, it's basically the combination of two words or parts of word to create another word which has a completely new and a different meaning. For example, lunch plus breakfast to create brunch, smoke plus fog to create smog. So you see, when you're combining these two different words, you're creating a third word which has a completely new meaning. That third word is known as portmanteau. The next important linguistic term from UGC-NET point of view is linguistic performance. It was coined for the first time by one of the most prominent and important linguists, Noam Chomsky, who is also sometimes referred to as the father of modern linguistics. He used it for the first time in 1960 to describe the actual language that we use on a daily basis. It is similar to Saussures' concept of parole, which he called it as the live language or language in context. Both these concepts, that is Saussures' concept of parole and Chomsky's concept of linguistic performance, refer to the everyday language we use on a daily basis. The spoken language we use on a daily basis is called by Chomsky as linguistic performance and by Saussure as parole. Another important linguistic term provided by Noam Chomsky, which is almost similar to Saussure's concept of long, is linguistic competence. According to Chomsky, linguistic competence refers to the speaker's underlying knowledge of the language. Friends, when we are talking about Noam Chomsky and the terms provided by him, it is extremely important from UGC-NET English perspective because these are frequently asked. So make sure that you understand them in a more detailed manner. The next important linguistic term that you need to know for your UGC-NET English exam preparation is metalanguage. Now, when we talk about this term metalanguage, a lot of people feel that it's very confusing to understand, but I'm going to simplify it for you. The term metalanguage basically means the language we use to describe another language. Let's understand this with the help of an example. In English language, we have several words like verbs, nouns, adjectives, adverbs. Correct. But what are these words? We use these words to describe the English language. Obviously, they are a part of the larger system of the English language, but within this system, we use these words to describe the English language, to describe the words within English language and to differentiate them from one another. That's how these words, that is the verbs, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, they form a part of meta language. Now, the term metalanguage seems rather structuralist and formulaic because it focuses more upon the forms and structures present within the English language. In fact, it was coined for the first time by one of the most prominent Russian formalists, Roman Jakobson. And when we are talking about Roman Jakobson, you also need to remember two of his most important linguistic terms, that is metaphor and metonymy. Similar to metalanguage, there is another important linguistic term that you need to know for your UGC-NET English exam preparation. It is called paralanguage. Now, paralanguage was a term coined by the American linguist George Trager in 1958. It refers to the non-lexical features of the language. Now, what are these non-lexical features? Basically, our facial expressions, the gestures, pauses while we are speaking, respiration, at the same time intonation, at what pitch, volume are we speaking. All of this constitutes paralanguage. The fifth most important linguistic term that you need to know from UGC-NET point of view is philology. Now, when we are talking about philology, it has been derived from the Latin word philologia, which means a love for learning and literature. Now, this word has a lot of history. Initially, it was introduced in the 16th century and it was associated with European Renaissance humanism. During that point of time, it was associated and meant as a love for literature. In the 19th century, the word was sort of narrowed down to mean the study of the historical development of languages, and this was considered to be the golden age of philology. Today, philology basically means the study of both European and non-European languages. And philology basically means the study of language from literary sources, which means basically whatever literature that we are reading in colleges and universities and understanding language from these literary texts through critical analysis, through learning the history of English literatures and other kinds of literatures, that is basically known as philology. Friends, it is often said that our characters and our personalities are shaped by the company we keep, right? Similarly, according to John Rupert Firth, a word is identified and understood by the company it keeps. This is what he has called as collocation. When we are talking about collocation, the term was coined by John Rupert Firth in 1957. He is often considered to be the father of collocation. Collocation, in the general sense of the word, means to place things together. In linguistics, the word collocation refers to a set of words that are frequently paired together based upon its semantics, that is, how synonymous they are with each other and how many times do they appear together in that particular context. Let's understand this with the help of an example. When I say the word night, what is the next word that comes to your mind? Perhaps it's dark or black. So one of the meanings of the word night is its collocability with the word dark, and of course vice versa. So collocation is basically determined by the synonymity of words that can be grouped together based upon its semantics and the context in which they are frequently appearing. The next important linguistic term is protasis. Now, protasis has two different meanings. In the literary context, protasis refers to the introductory part of a play, which is usually the first act. In the linguistic context, protasis refers to the subordinate clause of a conditional sentence. Let's break this down. What do we mean by a subordinate clause? A subordinate clause is basically a clause that cannot exist on its own for the meaning generation. It is dependent upon the main clause of one particular sentence. And what is a conditional sentence? A conditional sentence is any sentence that begins with an if or has a particular condition provided in it. That is known as a conditional sentence. Let's understand this with the help of an example. When I say, if it's going to rain tonight, we are not going to go out for a movie. In this particular sentence, the subordinate clause is, if it's going to rain tonight. Because first of all, it cannot exist on its own. You will need the help of the main clause for complete meaning generation. And since it's a conditional sentence, the first part, that is, if it's going to rain tonight, becomes the protasis. And the remaining sentence, that is the main clause, is known as apodosis in linguistics. Another important linguistic term from UGC-NET point of view is corpus. In general sense of the word, corpus refers to a collection of writings done on a specific topic or a specific genre. In linguistics, corpus basically refers to a collection of the naturally occurring language in use. So basically, again, it refers to Saussure's concept of parole or Noam Chomsky's concept of linguistic performance. So whatever language that we are speaking now, the spoken language, the everyday English language, how we are using it, how we are shaping it to fulfill our own needs and requirements, that collection, which is done in a very principled manner, is known as corpus. Now, what is the use of corpus? It actually helps in analyzing and studying various patterns and variations of language in use. This process of studying and analyzing corpus is actually known as corpus linguistics. It helps in identifying and developing new theories of language. The next important linguistic term that you need to know from UGC-NET point of view is morpheme. Morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit in one particular word that cannot be broken down into other smaller meaningful units. It could be a word like place or an, or even the suffixes like full in the word joyful. Now, when we are talking about the word morpheme, it can be predominantly divided into two types, a free morpheme and a bound morpheme. A free morpheme is a morpheme that can exist on its own, whereas a bound morpheme is a morpheme that cannot exist on its own for meaning generation. For example, in 2013 UGC-NET English Paper 2, a question was asked that said that in the word rapidly, which is an adverb, it can be divided into two types, rapid, which is an adjective, and li, which is an adverbial suffix. Identify the two kinds of morphemes in this word. So the answer is that rapid is a free morpheme and li is a bound morpheme. The study of morphemes and understanding its types in linguistics is known as morphology, and it was introduced as one of the main branches of linguistics by August Schleicher in 1859. Finally, the last and the most important term for this series on top 20 important terms for UGC-NET English is hagiography. Now, this term hagiography is extremely important from UGC-NET English perspective, so make sure you review it and understand it in a detailed manner. Hagiography basically refers to the writings of the lives of the saints. The focus is not upon being accurate from a literary perspective. Rather, the focus is upon appreciating and highlighting the achievements of these saints. They are extremely important because they provide us with the evidence of local histories. At the same time, they provide evidence of the existence of certain cults, customs, and traditions. That is why they are very important as digital archives. Now, if you want to know more such literary terms and linguistic terms, their basic definitions, who coined them, when, where, and more importantly, what is their significance from UGC-NET point of view, I am covering all of them in a very detailed manner in my live classes for UGC-NET English exam preparation. In these live one-on-one classes, I am providing personalized guidance, sharing feedback, and sharing certain essential tips and strategies which help me crack UGC-NET English exam in my first attempt. Not only that, but I am explaining every complex topic and concept related to the history of British English literature and literary criticism in a very simplified manner. You can expect a theory by theory breakdown and a period by period breakdown covering some of the most important writers and their works, helping you in remembering the years of the published works in a very effortless manner. If you want to know more about the courses I offer, the sessions I take, and the notes I provide, feel free to check out my TopMate page at topmate.io/Riya Gandhi. I have shared the link in the description box below, so don't forget to check it out. That's it for today's video, folks. We are done with the two-part series on top 20 important terms for UGC-NET English. If you found this series informative and helpful, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. If you want to know more about my one-on-one English coaching classes for UGC-NET exam, feel free to check out my TopMate page. It's topmate.io/Riya Gandhi. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I'll see you in the next one.